Russian Anna Sherbakova won the gold medal in women's figure skating. Teammate Alexandra Trusova won the silver, and Japan's Kaori Sakamoto took bronze. In a stunning collapse, Russian Kamila Valieva fell to the ice twice and failed a medal after entering the free skate with the lead. Valieva, who has been the focus of scrutiny for a doping scandal, was distraught afterward. So was Trusova, who was visibly angry about not winning gold. She criticized the judging after she made history with 5 quad jumps. For the Americans, Alyssa Liu was the top U.S. finisher in 7th place. U.S. champion Mariah Bell was 10th and Karen Chen finished in 16th place. Plus, American-born freestyle skier Eileen Gu, competing for China, won gold in the women's halfpipe. She's the first action sports athlete to capture 3 medals at the same Winter Games. And U.S. flag bearer Brittany Bowe won her first career individual medal, taking bronze in the women's 1,000-meter speed skating event.
Now, during the Beijing Olympics and over the last, 50-plus years of the Winter Olympics, there's probably one place in Colorado we've heard specifically about, or at least one place that's produced a lot of those Winter Olympians. That would be Steamboat Springs. It's also where our very own Matt Renew is right now. And Matt, I know that Steamboat Springs hit a special mark this Winter Olympics in terms of the amount of athletes it's produced, and you're up there for a celebration about it, right?
Right, yeah, Chris. You know, it's kind of an ongoing celebration in Steamboat. It's a tradition that goes back nearly 100 years. But this Olympic Games, the Olympic Games in 2022, they're celebrating 100 athletes who have called Steamboat home, who have then gone on to the Olympics. So they've reached 100 athletes who have become Olympians, and I can't imagine a small town anywhere else in the country where they've got that kind of bragging rights to be able to say, yeah, we've got 100 athletes that have gone on to the Olympics.
Steamboat Springs got about 13,000 people in total. Matt, I know this is a little speculative, but what you mentioned, that there's probably not that many small towns that are producing this many athletes. Is there any sort of specific reason or reasons behind the fact that Steamboat produces this many athletes?
Well, they'll tell you here it's because of the focus on winter sports. I mean, we're at Howson Hill, which has been around. It's the oldest operating ski area in either North America or west of the Mississippi, maybe west of the Mississippi, but it's the emphasis on winter sports. And so the Winter Sports Club here is almost 100 years old. And so they still have kids that, you just looking around, I mean, it's all about Nordic skiing and winter sports. They got the ski jumping hills still up on the hill that are in use, and training goes on here and competitions as well. So it's just a big emphasis. And so that first Olympian, John Steele, was in 1932. And then the most recent, Decker Dean, he's a ski jumper, which we just talked about. They call him Decker Dean. The flying machine is number 100. And so that tradition goes back so long with such a deep-rooted system of winter sports. That's what they'll tell you here is the reason why so many athletes have been raised in Steamboat Springs and gone on to become Olympians.
So clearly the recipe here, Matt, is whenever I do have children, we move to Steamboat Springs and they'll be going to the Olympics, right?
Yeah, get them to Steamboat Springs, put them in the Winter Sports Club, and then they'll go on to be Olympians. I still think it's still probably going to take a lot of work. They'll tell you that a lot of kids don't go on to the Olympics. A lot of them do go on to the Olympics, but yeah, it just takes a lot of work. And what's really cool, and we can't really show you here, I can just kind of sort of point it out, but that building, that A-frame building right back there, inside that is their Hall of Flags. And up on the second floor, they've got 100 flags in there that represent the Olympians, the country where the Olympics took place, and then the year of that Olympic event. And they're all hanging from the ceiling. And so if you do move here, take your kids in there. They're going to look up at those flags and dream of being Olympians. It's a little more spark and incentive to get out there and become an Olympian.
I can tell you firsthand, I've been to that building, and I just know about the pride that Steamboat Springs takes in its Winter Olympics, and in understandably showing off the amount of Olympians they've had.
Right, and right as the Olympics started, and this isn't just because of the Olympics, they do it every winter, but they have their winter carnival. And so kicking off that winter carnival, they had their big celebration to kick off the Olympics, to kick off the winter carnival, and to celebrate their 13 Olympians, because they've got 13 athletes from Steamboat who are in Beijing right now competing. And so they do take a lot of pride in that. A bunch of skiers skied down the side of the mountain with flags from all the different countries. They lit a cauldron with a torch like it was an Olympic ceremony. It is a big deal in this town. They love their winter sports, they love their Olympics, and they certainly love their Olympians and other athletes who call this town home.
Again, that is just so cool that a town of 12, 13,000 people has produced now 100 different Olympians. That is just stunning over the last 90 years. Impressive stuff. And Matt, we appreciate everything you've done for us here throughout the course of the Olympics. Thanks so much for joining us from Steamboat Springs.
Yes. Thank you, Chris. And I'd just like to say that it was nice to see that first one so many years ago.
Back in 1932.
Yes, it's not that long ago, young man.
Matt Renew, appreciate it so much. Appreciate you and your sense of humor, and also your wonderful reporting throughout the course of the Olympics. Again, Matt up there in Steamboat Springs, the Olympic champion town in a sense, with its 100 different Winter Olympian celebrated here through the Beijing Olympics. All right, Matt, appreciate a few minutes of your time. Want to go take a look ahead as to what you can expect coming up here for Friday night and what you can see at the Winter Olympic Games in Beijing.
Michaela Schifrin will get one more shot at a medal from the 2022 Winter Games. She plans to compete in her 6th event, the mixed team parallel slalom. The event features teams of 4 skiing side by side on identical slalom courses in a tournament format. The team with the highest score in each round advances. And on the ice, the final figure skating competition begins with a pairs short program. The U.S. contingent includes team figure skating silver medalists Alexa Knierim and Brandon Frazier. Plus, 4 Americans are set to compete in the final of men's free ski halfpipe, including Aaron Blunk, who had the highest score in qualifying. And at the sliding center, Americans Kaylee Humphreys and Alana Myers-Taylor try to add to their monobot medals as they take on the first 2 runs of 2-woman bobsled.